learning to walk like the desert people is not the worst thing that you could do. Just to be safe, because I have seen tremors and tremors too. Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that couldn't help but notice you sitting over there all by yourself. Do you want to maybe come hang out and talk about smut?
We like your vibe.
We do. We love your vibe. That's
but
not where that was going.
But no. Come back. No, we don't mean like a throuple thing.
Yeah.
We host a podcast about smut. Where are you going? Don't. Where do you live that the area code's 911? What are you doing? Who are you calling?
Oh no. It's going off the rails so early.
Wee woo, wee woo. Run, Lillian.
Oh my Lord.
How are you?
Oh my God. I'm fine. Thank you for
That's the closest we've ever done to like a full cold open.
That was insane. Yeah. And the whole time I'm just screaming over here going, stop the bit.
And I'm like, no, it's too good.
I'm the Heather Ann of this situation.
Funnily enough, I think that was going to be what I'm into this week.
Yeah,
So stick around for the whole episode.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks. I'm pretty good.
I don't mean to stop you. Do you need those papers? Because I just kind of left them over there.
No, I don't.
Give those to me. Yeah, we're gonna do a literal housekeeping on the show.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. I just put our child to bed. Our other child is playing his video games while we record real quick before we put him to bed. So I'm happy and content. I'm trying to think of you went away this week, so I'm just like trying to catch back up.
I did
mentally
for work.
Yeah,
I didn't just leave.
He didn't just yeah. He went away for milk this week. He decided to come back on Thursday. We're very lucky.
Sometimes Carl just leaves.
Right.
I did. I was out of town for work this week, but I am back. I am very happy to be back. I got to it's Labor Day weekend, so it's a 3-day weekend. I got to take the kids to the playground today and watch our daughter be very brave and then regret it immediately.
Yeah.
She went out on, they're not like full on monkey bars, they're like, rings, like fixed metal rings that she was trying to get across, and she had one hand on each, like a hand on a ring. And then immediately was like, kicking. And then she fell maybe like 3 feet from however high that is. It's this playground into the mulch. And it's okay, I'm fine. I was like, fuck yeah, you're fine. You're tough as shit, kid. And then she tried to climb the ladder to do it again. And then she just immediately climbed right back down. Nope.
Nah.
Like much like Shaun in Shaun of the Dead when he.
Oh, yeah.
That beautifully framed shot where he climbs up to look over the fence and climbs back down. Yep. And then the camera tilts and cranes up and thousands of zombies.
A few.
A number of zombies. But that's not what we're here for.
No, not today.
We're not here to talk about Shaun of the Dead and our kids. We are here to talk about smut. Specifically, we are here to talk about dark smut.
Yes. Sinning.
We're here to talk about sinful smut, because this episode kicks off Sinful September. This month we are celebrating Sinful Signings 2024, the East Coast edition, which takes place in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks from the record of this episode, 2 weeks from mainline release of this episode. There are 2 different Sinful Signings. There's an East Coast and a West Coast, I believe.
I don't know.
Well, I know there's 2 different TikTok accounts.
There's 2 different TikTok accounts, and I get confused, and I don't know what's going on. But either way, we're going to be Sinful Roanoke.
Yes, we are going to Roanoke. We'll be in Roanoke, Virginia, September 21st, 22nd, along with dozens of authors, influencers, narrators, content creators, photographers, you name it. Yep. We're going to be there.
Yep, we are, and it's very exciting. So for the month of September, I thought it would be a nice change of pace and also a really good opportunity to focus on Sinful by focusing on books by authors from the Sinful Signings author list. And so I wanted to start with a Sinthology is what they are called, and I can't say it. So thanks for that, guys.
I believe in you.
I originally reached out and asked if I could maybe preview the 2024 Sinthology for everyone. And they told me they were keeping the inside a secret. And I was like, okay, yes, my trickster goddesses, keep your secrets. I don't want to know what's in there until you're ready to show it to me. So instead, I reached out to Katie Hurd, who is, again, a friend of the show and an official Sinfluencer, an influencer who is associated with Sinful Signings. And she had last year's Sinthology. So she sent it to me, and I appreciate her very much for it, especially because her version is signed, because she went around and got it signed by all the authors that she could, and some of them left funny little notes for her, and I got to see them. That was great.
Glimpses into the personal life of Katie Hurd.
It was
just
like,
a little bit,
just like reading a teeny, not a diary, but like a scrap of paper from her purse or something,
or like a yearbook.
Yeah, a yearbook, exactly. That's what
Never change, Andy McLean.
Well, Andy doesn't have anything.
I wasn't sure.
But yeah,
but she's gonna be at the. Isn't she gonna be?
Yeah.
Okay,
she's gonna be there. So let's talk about Sinful just a little bit.
Yes, please.
So Sinful is a book convention. You or I have never been to a book convention, but they're very similar in format to a comic convention, which we've been to many times before. It's an opportunity to meet some of your favorite authors and narrators. Most of them will have booths and merch or books available for you to purchase. There will also be 5 moderated panels and 1 absolute zoo. One of them's going to be a zoo, but 5 moderated panels, one of which I will be moderating, the Tropes and Triggers panel, along with Katie Hurd. There's also going to be, over 70 authors and narrators available for meet and greet, signings, and more. Chance to hang out with some of your favorite book talk influencers. They have tons of Sinfluencers, and all of them are so cool. And I secretly admire them all, like a weird parasocial freak.
Your words.
My words. Yeah, my words only. There will also be a virtual interview panel with book talk sensation Bryn Weaver, hosted by the Cheap Smut podcast. And,
I love those guys.
Yeah, they're great, right? And the official event photographer is Paul Bunning, a.k.a. Taco from TikTok. I know Taco from TikTok. Like, when I saw his face, I was like, oh yeah, that guy. And apparently he's a photographer, and his stuff is fantastic. And he's going to be the event photographer for the show, or for the weekend. And that's so cool. Yeah. So yay.
I just quick glimpse into my brain when you said they'll have booths. The way you said booths.
Yeah.
I was like, you held just long enough to make me think that you were going to say many of them will have boobs, and I was like, you can't just say that.
I can't make a declaration on who or who may not have boobs at this.
That's what I'm saying
at all. No.
And then you said, and I was like, oh, thank Christ.
They will have booths.
Yeah.
Or tables, or whatever you want to call them.
And maybe boobs.
I don't know.
That's
up to them to tell you if they want to share with you what their bodies look like. That's on them.
It's totally up to them.
I can't be sharing that.
But if they do that, it will be in a booth,
possibly, or at the Black Masquerade Ball, which is the thing I am looking forward to the most in all of this. Most of my outfit will be arriving on Tuesday.
Oh,
and I can't wait to put it on and make sure that it works the way I hope it's going to work. Because if it does.
I have the bulk of mine.
Amazing.
Yeah,
yes.
I got the bulk of mine. I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm.
Spent a little bit more money on it than I wanted to, but now I will own that magnificent jacket
forever. Yes, and it's so great.
That black on black velvet paisley.
Ugh, God, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. That jacket looks so good on you.
It does.
We're going to walk into that place and everybody's going to be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because we're going to look real hot. And then we're going to be like, whoa. Because everybody else is going to look real hot. Yep. It's going to be amazing.
Exactly.
Really
and so
that's
September 21st and 22nd.
Yes.
In Roanoke.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a link in the show notes, I'm sure of it.
Yes, we will. And I believe there are still general admission tickets available, though I don't think there are any VIP left. They did have a few that they were holding back, but I think they sold them earlier this year. Oh. So because there just too many people wanted them, I think. This is a very popular event, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. But there are still a few GA tickets, and if you are in or around the Roanoke area or think you want to make that drive up, it is at the Holiday Inn, and there are rooms available still, and you guys can come hang out with us or anybody else you want to see. It's going to be really fun.
Yep. And if you're there and you see us, wave to us, but approach with caution. At least me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not big on being approached by strangers and being touched and or hugged.
Mm-hmm.
So, and generally I don't have that problem being as big as I am, but I'll just be like,
we should get you a shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
we should get you a shirt or a pin or something or a lanyard, something that just lets people know that you're not comfortable being touched without permission.
I might just palm your face and gently.
That's true. You will. You'll full on like Michael Jordan basketball their head right out.
Yep.
Or I don't know who's a very large player today. I don't know basketball.
Kevin Durant.
Durant, their head.
I was going to say the gentleman they call the Greek Freak, but I cannot pronounce his last name.
Oh no. Oh yeah, don't try and butcher a beautiful Greek name.
Yeah.
Why don't we get started on the book?
Yes, let's.
Okay, so what we are doing today is a selection of stories from the 2023 Sinthology, which was themed around the 7 deadly sins. So every story in the Sinthology features sin or is dedicated to sin in some capacity. Neither of the Sinthologies are currently available for purchase as far as I can tell. However, each of the authors that I am talking about has a wealth of books available, and a lot of them fall within the cheap smut purview of inexpensive and horny. So all the stories that I'm telling to you, there's more, I promise. So let's begin with a story from an author that I have been wanting to read for a long time, but I haven't been able to read her books because they're too long. Lust-Filled Night by Kitty Pawell.
Kitty?
Kitty.
Okay.
And Pawell spelled P-A-W. Paw. Kitty Pawell.
I like it.
So Lust-Filled Night is a standalone short from Kitty's Kiss and Tell trilogy. There are currently 2 books available, Lust-Drunk Nights and Desire-Drenched Days, which follow the FMC whose name is Rose.
One real quick, I wanted to do a little figurative housekeeping. Now, you chose the stories that you chose for this episode because specifically from authors who are also going to be at this year's
Sinful. Every author I am covering today will be at Sinful. Yep. Yes. And every author that I cover this month will be at Sinful.
And including a special earlier than normal author profile.
Yes, with Brian Scala, because his new Core Memories book comes out in like 2 weeks.
Yep, and he will also be at Sinful Signings.
And he will be at Sinful as well, yes.
So sorry for the interruption.
No problem. Okay, so Kitty's stories. So the Kiss and Tell trilogy follows Rose, who is a spicy romance author and a polyamorous queer woman. It's sort of a meta
I was going to say.
You're reading from her perspective a lot of the time. It follows her relationship with her partners, Quinn, Xavier, Elijah, Myra, and Winter. It also follows college student Melanie, who is obsessed with Rose. And I only read that in some reviews, so I don't know what that means. But some of the chapters in Lust-Drunk Nights are from Melanie's perspective. So I would have to imagine that perhaps that's a bit darker and perhaps more stalkerish or something. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, so the series is very high heat and a very real and honest portrayal of polyamory and what polyamorous love can look like, and also what drama in a polyamorous relationship can, result in, the complications of that. So this short, though, is told only from Rose's perspective, and it opens with literally, it's like, hey, when I sent that topless photo to all 3 of my men in one single group chat, I was just throwing pasta at the wall. I didn't know what was going to happen. I did not expect all 3 of them to show up on my porch. I did not expect this, but I'm here for the ride. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. This is how Rose goes.
Yeah, they apparently are there for the ride as well.
Exactly, and she is down with it. So this is an erotic short. There is not a lot of plot here. The relationships are all established. So we just had to sort of jump right in. But the spice was spicing, super spicy, and Rose was like screaming in the kitchen on like page 3. So hell yes, we're here for it. So a lot of the fun of this scene for me, even as a person who doesn't understand these characters, was the dynamic between the 3 men in the bedroom. So this is something that hadn't happened at any point previously in Rose's relationships. So her watching them try and figure out their dynamic and like their weird dick measuring pissing contest stuff is really funny.
I can imagine.
I enjoy it a lot. I think it's hilarious. So Xavier, who she calls Zay, and Quinn, whom she calls In, are both like these alpha kind of dick swingy guys, which is great. But then she also turns it on its head in a really great way, because they make out at one point because In just got done eating Rose out and Zay wants to taste it. So the ultimate result of this scene is a triple penetration with In the vagina, Zay in the ass, Eli in the mouth, and Rose in like a seizure. Like
yes.
The throes of life-changing experience. They go all night, and then at some point they pass out, and then they wake her up in the morning to do it all again. And that was the point where I was like, put on the brakes. Because if y'all... Okay, in the imaginary scenario, that would never happen, because I can't think of a single reality where I would want to be naked in front of 3 cis men. Ever. Ever. I cannot think of a reality where that would ever happen to me, but if that did happen to me and then they woke me up in the morning before I was ready, I would commit a crime.
Yeah.
Like, my name would be trending in the true crime community for what I did after that. Because no, don't wake me up. Fuck you.
No, I mean, even just again, peek behind the curtains here at Smutco Industries. During the week, I mean, I'm always the first one up every day.
Yes.
And I have to wake you up to make sure that you're awake so that you can assist, because I can't just leave the toddler wandering the house while I take the older one to school. And I've got a very long poking stick that I use. I wake her up from the hallway.
Yeah, so I don't bite his fingers off.
Yeah.
Like a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm fine waking up to get the children off to school and to be a responsible and loving parent. It's hard to wake up, but I'm fine with it. Mm-hmm. 3 men waking me up for more sex? No. Commit a crime. And that's where me and Rose are different. And
now I know you very, very early on made it very clear that you never wanted to talk about our sex life on the show. I'm going to violate that oh so slightly and to say that we have been together for, it'll be 16 years this September.
Mm-hmm.
And I can count on one hand the number of times we've had sex before noon. You are not a morning person at all. Okay, 2 hands. Maybe 2 hands.
So say, give me 2 hands.
Maybe 2
Come
hands.
on. No, but
Maybe
I'm really not. I'm not a morning person. I can't do it.
There are less times that's happened than there are years we've been together. There.
1 a year. There you go.
Yeah, it's just one time. It's my one pre-noon.
It's on your birthday.
Yeah, it's lots of afternoon and evening delights.
Yeah.
But nothing before.
No. It's too early. We're not doing it. No.
And that's all you'll get from us.
Yep, exactly. Anyway, so I have a highlighted line that I put in my notes because it was so fucking great. Lube up, shut the fuck up, and get inside of her before I go first. Which is what Elijah said to the other 2 while they were arguing about who would get to fuck her first.
Well, yeah, because Elijah got, not for nothing, I mean, Elijah got the blowjob, got the oral end the other night. Yeah, he wants to get in there, man.
Yeah. No, this was that night. He got the oral that night, too. He was just trying to move it along.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because the guys were too busy bickering.
Oh, yeah. In that case, absolutely. Just get it.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Get in there.
He's already going to town.
Yep. You're disappointing the lady at this point.
Yep.
She's just like kneeling there because I think this was in the middle of blowing them. She's just kneeling there watching you 2 bicker.
Doing her best Circus Seal impression.
That's so fucked up.
It's 3 of them.
It's so boop, 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 boop. I don't know if anybody's going to understand the reference to circus seals blowing horns with their noses. But that's what we were referencing there. Let's go to Schooled by Sara Furlong Burr. Every single time in my head, that's how it goes.
So how is Sara
Furlong Burr.
Burr.
Yeah. But
it's B-U-R-E?
It's B-U-R-R.
Oh, Burr. Okay.
But because I've heard someone say Candace Cameron Burr like Candace Cameron Burr.
Where is that from? Isn't that like a bit? Is it?
It's a bit, and I think it's from the McElroy brothers even. I don't know.
I can't remember.
But either way, it's an echolalia in my brain. Candace Cameron Burr. So now, Sara Furlong Burr. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I really am. I can't help it. It's my brain. It's ridiculous in here.
I'm really sorry about that. I apologize to you, Sarah.
So, Sara Furlong Burr writes sci-fi. See her Enigma Black trilogy, which sounded super cool, and also steamy romances. See her Second Chance romance series, and also some others, including I think she has had one rom-com as well. Schooled is a standalone taboo professor and student, older brother's best friend, small town romance. Yeah. Yeah, she crammed a lot into 23 pages.
Yeah, I bet the characters did too.
Oh.
Say that again. So taboo, student professor, older brother's
best friend.
Oh, small town. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, so it's not really small town, but it has small town vibes. And they came from a small town, and it all takes place on a college campus, which also has small town vibes, like by virtue of being a college campus. So it falls in my small town romance category. So
I just, in my brain, I was like, oh, so if this got made to a movie, it would be starring Reese Witherspoon, completely forgetting that Reese Witherspoon is old enough to play the mother of that character now.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, for sure.
Time marches on.
Actually, if I were to cast this, Olivia Rodrigo.
There you go. It's just my brain immediately associates like small town rom-com. There was like that late 90s, early
Sweet Home. Oh yeah, Sweet Home Alabama.
Yep,
one of the best.
Yeah,
so good.
There was that era, that late 90s. There was like it was just like there were just more. It felt like of those types of movies.
Yeah, but there was oh god. The golden age of the rom-com.
Yeah.
So great. God, one of the best lines from a movie ever came from that movie. I want to marry you so I can kiss you whenever I want. That's so cute. Because he said it the first time he said it, he was like 9. That's adorable. He said it to a little 9-year-old girl. He didn't say it to like a grown-up or something creepy or weird. It's cute. It's a really cute story. All right. So anyway, back to this story, which is cute in its own ways. So our FMC, her name is Eve, and she is a college student. Her age is unclear, but I am going to guess that because she's taking trig, she's probably like a sophomore.
Yeah.
So 19, 20 years old, somewhere in there. At the start of the book, she is in her trig class, but she's not really focusing on the lecture. She's focusing on the professor, whose name is Nick Barnes, who is this incredibly sexy math prodigy from her hometown, whom she has had a crush on since she was 14.
So this is the old brother's friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So Nick Barnes left home, or like graduated early, left home early, went to college early, and is now teaching trigonometry at this university. It's only been like 5 years.
Yeah.
So he's like a major prodigy, or I don't know. Homeboy's teaching trigonometry.
Or it's a community college.
I don't know what's going on. Either way, yes, I accept the premise. We're going with this. I'm not asking questions. So
no need.
Eve is flustered in class because she's had a crush on Nick for a long time, back when he was still just her older brother Garrett's best friend, and this weird lanky nerd who was obsessed with numbers and formulas before he hit the gym and did the full Neville Longbottom glow up and got hot his senior year or junior year or whatever it was before he left. There is a quick mention of the fact that they almost had a kiss earlier this week. So we're just establishing like a little bit of backstory. Like there's already some tensioning.
All right.
We just need to plop that into place. During class, she gets distracted briefly in a short conversation with a classmate named Oliver when he's like, "Are you okay? You're sweating." And
sorry, I'm just really horny for our teacher.
Internally, it's because she's half mad, half horny about the fact that her teacher is, who he is. But she's like, "Oh yeah, it's really hot in here." So she takes off her sweater and she's wearing like this really tight shirt underneath. And then Oliver's like, "Yeah, it is kind of hot in here."
He takes his shirt off. It's uncomfortable.
He gets taken before the dean of students for violations of code of conduct. No. So she is brought back to the lecture when she notices that Nick has stopped talking and he is staring. She finds him staring at her, furious. And she thinks it's because she interrupted his lecture and he's being a pill about it, I guess. I don't know. So she spends the rest of the lecture like making direct eye contact and furiously taking notes to prove to him that she's paying attention so that he can't like bust her balls for it later. I don't know.
She's just breaking leads on her pencil.
Snap, sine, cosine. This is the only two math words I know.
Snap and cosine? I'm kidding. I didn't hear the other one. I mean, I heard it. I forgot it. Sine, cosine.
Yeah. Tangent. That's another one. That's what you're doing right now. No.
It's more miraculous when I stay on topic.
That's true. It would be no fun. It would really be no fun if the conversation just stayed in its own lane. It'd be boring. Anyway, so after class, Oliver invites Eve out to a local bar in town they have called the Thirsty Goat, which is a great name for a bar, with some friends, and she agrees to go. And as she is leaving, she hears the sound of a coffee mug shattering against the far wall.
He's still mad.
About what? Lord fucking knows.
Do we ever find out?
Yes.
Okay, good.
We do. But it was just like, wow, that's not healthy.
I'm just going to take a guess. You don't have to tell me if I'm right, but is he just mad because he's just so horny?
Sort of.
Because I've been there.
Oh, yeah. Sort of. I mean, what? Who gives a shit about spoilers? He's mad because she accepted going to a bar with another man.
But he was mad before that.
Because she took her shirt off to reveal her much tighter shirt in front of Oliver.
Fucking be a pro, man.
I swear to Christ.
You're never going to get tenure like this.
You're never going to get tenure at all, my dude. But anyway, so at the bar that evening, Eve, she goes in fretting because she's not sure whether this is a date or not. And she wasn't really, Oliver said, "We're going to the bar," but she wasn't really paying that much attention. When he said "we," did he mean like friends, or is this like a couples thing? Are we like meeting with a bunch of other couple? Like she's like going over a bunch of shit in her head. And then eventually she sort of lands on, well, is Oliver really the worst option here? He seems stable. He seems pretty nice. Like I could probably hitch my wagon to stable for a little while and like dust the cobwebs off the old vagine and get, back in the saddle with a nice guy.
Yeah.
So she goes in and she's having a good time until he like orders her a drink, and it's a huge stein full of something bright pink and vodka-y, which is a bad combination. And she starts coughing as soon as she takes a drink of it. And he is rubbing her back and trying to like take care of her. And then suddenly Nick is standing there. Go fucking figure.
Yeah.
And he tells Oliver, just get your hands off her. He's just trying to comfort her because she's coughing. But okay, sure. Alpha's gonna alpha.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you brooding over there.
Right. And So Nick extricates her from this and takes her outside to talk to her. And in the alley, behind the bar, he's basically like, "Why are you doing this to me?" And she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Same face that you just made.
You could hear it.
Yeah.
You could hear it through the mic. Yeah. That's how what the fuck this moment is. Yeah.
Straight up. What? And she's like, "What are you talking about? You're the one. We almost kissed in your office the other day, and you're the one who pulled away from that. And so I'm going over here to somebody who's not going to pull away."
Yeah.
You know?
You were all like, my career.
And she's like, "You obviously don't want me. So I'm gonna go be with somebody who does want me." And he says, "I want you so much it's literally killing me," basically, you know, whatever romantic thing that he says. And she says, "Actions speak louder than words."
Yep.
Homie. So then he kisses her, and it's awesome. It's a fantastic kiss, super great. She starts climbing him like a tree right there in the alley, but he's like, no, I'm not fucking you in an alley. Like, you deserve to be fucked up somewhere nicer than an alley.
Those rats are fighting over a rotten piece of pizza.
And I think she literally had the thought, like, I've been fucked in dirtier places.
Yeah.
Girl, have some standards for where you lay your naked ass. Okay? I love you. It's okay to find a clean place to set yourself down before you catch the rail.
Yes.
Okay? Okay. Anyway, moving on. So he takes her back to his apartment, which is like this really sad bachelor apartment with plain white walls and like just a couch and a TV. And I thought that was really funny.
Like that meme.
Yeah, like that meme, except it's like pristinely clean.
Yeah.
And he gets her something to drink. They make out in the kitchen for a little while. There's nudity. There's, I think, some temperature play. He gets an ice cube out. And eventually they go back to the bedroom, and the sex is short but super hot and fantastic, wonderful. And then the story ends with Nick saying, "I think we're fucked." Which, yeah, like, you just fucked your student. You're fucked, man. That's not a good thing. She either has to stop her collegiate career or you have to stop your career. Ethically, you can't do this.
No.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, this is what we call painting ourselves into a corner.
Yeah.
With our dick.
Yeah, so that was Schooled by Sara Furlong Burr, and I enjoyed it very, very much. I'm probably going to end up reading another one of hers. I don't usually like second chance romances, but her series of second chance romances looks very interesting. So I might dive into that one next.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So yeah, that was fun. That was Schooled.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. It was I'm always amazed, and I understand it. The longer I spend time in this community, the better I understand it. And because when I first started the show with you, or started being on the show with you, I didn't understand. There's a disconnect between, I know that a lot of the shit that happens in these books, especially at a lot of the shit the men in these books do, would be comically large red flags, IRL. But in these books, it's somehow hot.
Mm-hmm. Only in the books.
Only in the books. I still don't get it, but I think I understand. Like, it's a safe way.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. And a lot of times, especially when you're talking about dark romances, the really dark romances, people will be like, why the hell do you want to read something like that? Dub con or non-con or pain play, gun play, knife play. Because there are legitimate ways to experience those things safely. And those ways are fictional. That's why it's in the book.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
Yeah.
Because there's no safe way to experience some of the shit that's happening in these books, but people need this to process it, or just because they find it entertaining.
Yeah. Because if you tried any of the shit in these books, like IRL, to quote the great Patton Oswalt, you would become very familiar with the minty freshness of mace.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Nobody is ever going to accept you like walking up to them in a bar and grabbing them by the throat and like making declarations. It's not how it works.
You're mine.
But hey.
No.
No. You know what's going to be yours this shiny restraining order.
Exactly.
Yeah. But in a book that can work. These are fantasies. The same way that Paul Atreides is not actually the Muad'Dib. You know?
There's no such thing as giant worms in the desert.
Fucking Shai Hulud. May he reign forever.
But just to be safe, every once in a while, I do walk arrhythmically.
Oh, you know what? Learning to walk like the desert people is not the worst thing that you could do.
Yep.
Just to be safe, because I have seen tremors. And tremors, too. Absolutely beautiful storytelling in Tremors. Absolutely beautiful. You know who else tells a beautiful story? Is Kennedy Sutton. So let's talk about her.
I was going to say, what else do we have here?
Okay. So the next one I'm covering is A Sea of Sin by Kennedy Sutton. And this one has no spice in it. But I loved this story and I wanted to share it, so I'm sharing it. A Sea of Sin is a short story from Kennedy Sutton's Silver Locket series, which follows Jane, who is a woman who runs away from her life after murdering her abusive preacher husband. The first book follows Jane as she dons the disguise of Dixon Abels and joins the crew of the pirate ship the Sneaky Lass and begins to fall in love with the Captain Bennett Holt.
I'm sorry, Dixon Abels?
Dixon Abels.
Is one of the best names
Yes.
ever.
Yes, it is. It's fantastic. Dixon Abels. So in the first book, Jane begins to fall in love with Captain Holt, and Captain Holt begins to fall in love with Dixon. And it just gets more complicated from there. So the Silver Locket is a very slow burn multi-book series. Everybody I've ever seen talk about it has nothing but great things to say. I would love to read them, but I know I can't because the ADHD gremlins simply will not allow it. But I got this little taste of it, and that's great, and I'm happy for it.
And I'm already going to headcanon in that Captain Holt is Andre Braugher, Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
White man blinking gif. I have nothing else to say. I can't. What the fuck do you mean? Andre Braugher.
The actor who played Captain Holt.
I know.
In my head, if I were to read this book, it would be him.
Okay. You make him. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Mm-hmm. You do that. So anyway, The Sneaky Lass is the name of the first book. And if we ever get Jack on the show, it's the book I plan to read for him.
Okay.
Because it is slow burn, no spice.
Okay. Slow burn, no spice.
And will protect his precious
I'll let him know.
reputation of
we're going to keep that a mystery as to who that is.
Yeah. Anyway, so this book, we find Jane on the ship Deceit. After she has been released from the Sneaky Lass's crew, she's now being held captive by the first mate of the Deceit, a man named Tom. I have no particulars. I have no fucking clue what's going on.
Nor do I care.
That's not really what this is about, but now we know why she's here. So in this scene, Jane is in the hold. It's nighttime or not nighttime. It doesn't matter. It's dark. And Tom is asleep in the next room over, and she is sitting with the captain. The ship's captain is Archer Lee, Lee spelled L-I. So Archer Lee is one of the most brutal pirates she has ever met. And she knows that at least some of his past badassness makes him an incredibly brutal and dangerous person. But she also likes him because he's a pretty chill, sweet guy. Because in this scene, they are sitting in the lamplight of his lantern, and he is reading. His favorite thing to do is to read romance novels. He loves them. He buys them. He steals them from ships when he can find them. He trades them with other pirates at port. He loves romance novels.
I love that. I love that there's just a network of pirates
trading books.
Yeah.
And some of them are romance novels. And in this one, he's reading this sweet, delicate green leather clad book. And as he gets to the end, he's one of us, by the way. So he gets to the end of it, he starts reading faster and faster, and he starts tearing up. And by the end of it, he's full on crying because the happy ending, the joy of it, makes him so happy. I was like, oh my God.
Yar, might you have the new Bertrice Smith? I love me a good bodice ripper.
That's so cute. Yes. So he finishes the book and he looks up to talk to her because he's done now. So he will talk, and they start talking about love, which then becomes a conversation about what love is, what love feels like, whether or not he's ever felt it, whether or not she's ever felt it. And then he starts asking her opinions on sin and sinning. He asks what she thinks sin in, not what sin is, not what religion says sin is or what other people have told her is sinful, but what she actually thinks. And she tells him that she grew up in a religion that had 8 sins: gluttony, fornication, greed, apathy, wrath, sloth, envy, and pride were the 8 sins of her religion. And she says that from there, she didn't really learn so much about sin as she did about hypocrisy, that a woman could be called a fornicator if she had sex outside of her marriage, but the man that she had sex with would never be accused of gluttony or greed or fornication. This then becomes sort of a discussion about the double standard between the sexes. It felt very much like America Ferrera in the Barbie movie. Mm-hmm. Kennedy Sutton wrote that scene before that scene, and other people wrote that scene before she did, because we've been calling out the hypocrisy of men in the double standard of the sexes for hundreds of years. This is well-trodden ground. I love hanging out here. I
have no idea what you're talking about. First I'm hearing of this.
No, really? What? Huh?
Wait, what?
What do you mean?
What do you mean historically every evil perpetuated on this planet was by a man? Virtually all of them?
Yeah.
Not my men. Not the men I know.
Hashtag not
my men.
No true men.
Yeah. Hashtag not my men.
Not my men.
I'm just kidding. Men are god awful historically. Except me. I fucking rule.
It's true. You're pretty great.
And so humble.
So humble. Yep. Mm-hmm. It's the humility that does it. Anyway, so she concludes all of this by saying that wrath isn't wrathful if the person who received it is deserving, and pride is only pride if it's unjustified boasting, and apathy is only a sin if you're ignoring your responsibilities, and murder is a sin sometimes but not other times. Like, a wrathful man isn't committing a sin when he beats his wife bloody, but apparently a woman is wrathful if she kills him in return. Mm-hmm. That conversation winds down right about then, and Captain Lee subtly confirms that he was just like living in the subtext the whole time. He understands that she killed her husband and ran away, and he's very cool with that. He says, so what if someone is killed because it is both justified and necessary? And she says, oh, well, then that's just convenient.
That's just metal as fuck there.
He says, but basically, I can't remember exactly what he says, but he is something akin to like, oh, I like that because it makes it feel like me killing my mom was divine intervention. Oh. And I was like, excuse me, sir? Hello? And he walked away. Okay. Bye.
Sat his book down and then left the room and elaborated no further.
Fucked off and said nothing more. Killed his mama and walked away.
I will not be taking questions.
Yeah. And that's the end of the scene. And it closes out with Jane being like, he's my friend. But yeah, he's your friend. He is. I think that you could count that man a friend.
Yeah.
But he did just admit to you that he killed his own mama. And hot damn, that's a lot. Okay. So that was A Sea of Sin by Kennedy Sutton. I couldn't remember
the name. That's okay.
And my brain is shutting down as we speak. And I enjoyed that so much. It was such a beautiful story. It didn't have any sex in it. I knew I wasn't going to only cover the sexy stories in this book because there are a lot of stories in this that are not sexual. There are a couple of beautiful poems in here as well. And so I had to pick one of them, and I ended up picking this one. And I think it was good. I think it was a good pick. But I could have easily gone with about 4 others that were just as good.
Oh, I'm sure the book is just banger after banger.
It is. Honestly, it is full of bangers, and I had to pick through. First, I went through and selected all the stories that were written by authors who will be there this year. Then I went through and I selected stories that were sexy, and then I went through and I had to go through the ones that were like just a chapter. Like some of these are just a chapter from a longer book. And some of these are just a special epilogue to a series that you have to have already read. And then I picked through and found the ones that I could. It was like a baboon in what?
I just love that's the analogy. Because they eat those, right?
I do.
I do. They were picking, and then
they pick out fleas and ticks from their loved one's fur, and then they eat them. Yes. I don't know why I went there either. Because at first, my first thought was raccoon, but no, they just wash their food before they eat it. They don't have to pick through it.
No, but I just love that the two analogies. So, but even then, you could have been like, I was like a raccoon picking through the trash can that is this book, and you're like, well, that's insulting to everybody in the book. What can I do that's better than a raccoon picking through a dumpster? I know, a baboon. I am one baboon, and this book is another baboon. And I'm going through the pages or hairs and looking for the biggest, juiciest fleas and ticks, a.k.a. stories. And I'm consuming them for mostly enjoyment, but a little sustenance.
Yes, much like the great blue whale, I did filter all of those stories through the baleen.
I inhaled this through the baleen of my mind.
Yes, I did.
Just get the krill.
Yep.
My nerdy ass, I'd have been like, oh, I'm going through the bins at a comic shop.
Nope. Animals.
Baboons.
Comparing myself to animals today. A fucking mess.
You're hot.
I'm so hot. God damn it. I'm so hot. I'm so stressed out because I'm so hot.
Why am I cursed with such hotness?
No, it's kind of like it's a little bit true. I'm kind of stressed out because I'm so hot.
You mean physically?
No, I mean I'm really attractive.
Oh. I tried to give her an out, folks.
No. Okay, so here's the thing. I had a TikTok go just a teeny tiny bit viral, and I've got like 100 new followers, but they're all men.
Yeah.
And I know it's because I'm pretty. And that stresses me out.
And you talked about anime.
And I talked about anime for 15 seconds. It was a 15-second video.
Again, remember earlier when we were talking about men historically being not super great? Because I've been looking. I happened to look at the comments on that recently, and it's a lot of people like siding with you, and then it's a bunch of dudes going, "What's the fucking anime?"
It's in the fucking tags,
and exactly,
bro.
and then it's
in the tags. I've also answered that question in like 9 other comments. Stop trying to get me to interact with you.
Exactly. It's a bunch of dudes going, "What's the fucking anime?" and a bunch of women going, what you just said. It's in the comments. Read the tags, Lepton.
Sorry, that went off in a weird direction. I apologize for all of that. But you did get some really funny shit out of it, so you're welcome. Laughter is medicine. Patch Adams taught me that.
And the only difference between science and messing around is whether or not you write it down. Adam Savage taught me that.
Oh, that's nice. That's true. All right, let's do one more story, shall we?
Yes, let's.
All right, so The final story on our agenda is Sinful Discipline by P.S. Nail.
Oh, yes. Peggy Sue.
Yes. So we already covered the other book in this series by Peggy Sue, Sinful Demands, which was covered by Katie Hurd in our guest host episode from her summer friendship series. And she told the story. She mentioned this book, and she mentioned that it was about the queen from her story, Queen Astrid, and how Queen Astrid was her favorite character. And from her telling of that story, I agreed Queen Astrid was also my favorite character. So I wanted to know her story. So I read it, and we're going to tell it now. Peggy Sue also has 2 other series that are currently in progress, along with a few other shorts and other things that are out there. So her 2 other main series are the Primordial Gods series and the Argentium Vampire Hunters trilogy. And her latest release is a holiday-themed shifter romance called 'Tis the Season to Be Bitter, which is a great name. Well done. This story is in the same vein as Sinful Demands, so it's high heat, super kinky, dubious consent because of mind reading, if you remember the mind reading stuff. But it's used to different effect this time. Also, please do remember the special character that we made up for Katie's episode.
Oh, yes. Yep. I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yep.
She will be making another appearance today.
Hey,
yeah. So, our FMC. Oh, sorry. I think you're thinking of a different person.
I'm thinking of Barb.
You are thinking of Barb. Okay, cool. Yeah, Barb's coming back. Okay, so our FMC, her name is Astrid, as I said. She is a human soul who became an angel at the start of this book. She died young when she was 28, and her death was, I guess, somehow related to her anger management issues. So her guardian angel brought her here to become an angel and get a handle on the wrath problem that she has. That was 6 years ago, and she has been trying to escape ever since. She earned her wings. She's been trying to leave ever since.
But so this is kind of like a prequel then?
Yes, okay. This is a prequel. I'm sorry. Yeah, this book occurs before the book that Katie
because I was like, wow, 6 years to Queen? Impressive, but I'm guessing there's more than that.
Yeah, there's more than that. But actually, no, 7 years to Queen.
Still impressive.
Yeah. So all Astrid wants to do is go back home. She wants to get coffee from her favorite coffee spot and maybe not have to deal with the heavenly beings constantly being perfect around her all of the time. Heaven just really isn't her thing. At the start of this book, she is being taken before King Hariel again to plead her case because she has done this hundreds of times before in the last 6 years. And this time her excuse is it was cloudy and I just couldn't see the barrier. That's all, she said as the sun shone through the perfectly blue sky on the gorgeously uncloudy day. And King Hariel tells her, I'm sorry, but enough is enough. We have done everything we can for you. You've gotten extra training. You've had extras, extra special, everything that we could. We've put you on the IEP. You are not advancing. I was
just going to say, they just put her on a PIP.
Yeah, right. You're not advancing as we expect you to. A PIP is better. Yes. And,
well, there's so many bullshit terms for CAP, PIP.
IEP is a school thing for children with additional needs. And that's not, I don't want to make her that anyway. So we put you on the PIP. You're not making the strides that we would like to see. There's nothing else that we can do for you. Your punishment is, I think they said ostracization. Is to be ostracized. She's going to be banished.
Yep.
He snaps his fingers and her wings disappear, and she is immediately sent. She just suddenly appears in front of the doors of I think it's the palace of the king of the realm of Abaddon, King Avarice Vance. And she, like I said, she just suddenly appears. She was there, now she's here. And the guards in front of the doors are like, who the fuck, what the fuck are you, what is going on? She just appeared out of nowhere, boss. I don't know what happened. So they go in, they talk to the king, they bring her in to meet the king, and he immediately likes her because she's spunky as fuck. She takes no shit. In her head, she thinks of him as both an asshole and a fuckface. And and that's not a thing most angels think at all, and not a thing most anybody thinks of King Avarice. So he enjoys that. I enjoy that Peggy Sue signed this page for fuckface. Because that's adorable. That's so cute.
You are special. It takes a special kind of person to be both an asshole and a fuckface. But my guy, you're both. You got it.
You did it. You're both of those things. So anyway, King Avarice welcomes her, tells the guards to take her to a room to get her out of her angel garb and into some clothes that are more appropriate for the setting and get her comfortable. That evening, while he is in his room being all like horny about the new girl, Avarice opens up a viewing portal to watch her in her room.
Creep.
Yeah. Demons being demony.
Demon's gonna demon.
Demon's gonna demon. In this book, there are a few things that he does that made me go, oh no, don't do that. Including watching her without her knowledge and getting all up in her head with his telepathy shit.
Yeah, don't do that.
Oh no, don't do that. Anyway, so he sees her crawling into bed. She's already dressed, so he doesn't watch her be nude or anything. And he's super horny, so he decides he's gonna try and encourage that in her as well. And first it's just thought. He just plants a couple of thoughts of desire, and then he whispers, you're not an angel anymore. You can have these thoughts now, like just trying to encourage her to feel what he wants her to feel, until eventually he's showing her full on visions of like his forked tongue and what it can do. And
oh my God. You think dick pics are bad,
right? And his wild demon dick fucking her and like whispering into her head, being all filthy, and she's playing with herself and absolutely loving it. He's watching her and jacking it off. It's the whole thing. It's great scene. When she finally finishes, he whispers in her head that she needs to get some rest because she has a lot more orgasms in her future. Damn, bro. First of all, presumptuous. Second of all, okay, thanks. I would love a nap. So the next morning, my notes say, is that a threat? A lot more orgasms in your future. Is that a threat?
Well, I mean, I said that to you many, many years ago, and I've done it.
It was a threat.
It was a threat. I did threaten you with orgasm.
You heard it here, folks. He threatened me.
Yeah.
He threatened me with a good time.
And here we are, 16
Here we
years
are,
later.
yep. The next morning, Astrid wakes up. She is fully aware that the thoughts that she had were not her own, that he was inside of her head, but she's not mad about it because for your orgasm. She's not going to tell him that, but she's not mad about it. She is going to continue to be like stompy, angry about her situation, but she's not really mad about the being inside her head last night thing. She is a little annoyed when a guard shows up at her door and tells her that she has to go to breakfast, whether she likes it or not. So she goes down to breakfast. At breakfast, they flirt. If by flirt you mean just be incredibly horny in front of each other and confirm that they're going to get it in later. Like, in a much sexier way, they scheduled it, basically. Yeah. He then gives her new wings, which surprises her because her wings were a thing she had to earn in King Hariel's kingdom. And he tells her, no, we don't earn our wings here. We treasure them. He says, my love, we don't earn our wings here, my love, we treasure them. And he starts calling her my love and darling and baby pretty much right away. So this is sort of an insta love for him. Mm-hmm. We don't need reasons and we don't need build up. He's in love. God damn it. End of. She is delighted to have her wings back. The one thing she really loved about being an angel was having wings and flying, but she trained herself to be a high-speed flyer in all of her attempts to get out of Hariel's kingdom. She thinks now she'll have an opportunity to get out of Abaddon because Avarice is just letting her go, just giving her wings on day 2. Silly Avarice. So she goes, she gets dressed. She immediately starts flying for the exit. So there's like a it's called the Enchanted Circle, mm-hmm. and it's a big shiny circle in the sky, and if you fly through it, that's how you get back to the human realm. That's where she is going. She goes there as fast as she possibly can, but the difference between Avarice's kingdom and Hariel's kingdom is that in Abaddon, if you don't have permission to leave, when you get too close to the edge, your wings disappear.
That's right. Remember that.
Yeah. So she gets all the way, she gets to within like 5 feet of the circle, and her wings like melt off of her back, and she starts plummeting to the ground, and he is there to catch her, and she is mad. First of all, he's like, you think I would just let you get away that easily? Absolutely not. No, people can't leave here without my permission.
Astrid, big mad.
Yeah, Astrid, huge mad. And so she's like, put me down. He's like, okay, drops her for a few feet and then grabs her again. But this time he grabs her and he just like flops her over his shoulder, fireman style, and starts smacking her ass for misbehaving and being bratty. And he can hear her thoughts. And her thoughts in that moment are like, she is just now coming to the realization that this is doing it for her.
I was just going to say.
That bratting, misbehaving, getting punished, that's a pattern that she is just now recognizing she really enjoys in her life in some capacity. She's never added sex to the equation before, but apparently my girl likes to brat. And he's like, okay, all aboard the brat train. He's down. He's absolutely down. So he teleports them to his bedroom and they have sex about it. But of course, first we are introduced to the forked tongue, which does have two independent ends and can do whatever a forked tongue can do, and to his weird dick and barb. If we remember Barb Peen from Katie Hurd's episode, the demons in P.S. Nail's books have a series of 6 fleshy barbs around the base of the head of their dick, which...
No.
which, when they are fully working at their full capacity, vibrate. Yes.
Made it worse.
Made it worse. Yes, I did. Made it worse. Made it better. Whatever you prefer.
May I introduce you to my vibrating penis barb?
Vibrating penis barbs. And as Katie Hurd said, could be weirder. It really wasn't that weird. It's pretty normal by dick standards. It's pretty normal in these books.
I've seen weirder.
I've seen weirder. I have. So anyway, they have fantastic sex about it. So first, she wants to suck his dick, but she is not quite sure how to manage that situation because she's never been with someone who has barbs before. And so he gifts her the ability to read thoughts. He gives her the same telepathic ability that he has. So she uses that to her benefit to learn to be able to give him his perfect pleasure the same way that he does with his mind reading ability. Fantastic. Love that for you. So there's a great blowjob scene that then goes into a fantastic sex scene to round it all out. And that once that finishes up, there is one final scene that is basically an epilogue. 1 year later, King Avarice and Queen Astrid are now married, and on Tuesdays, she tries to escape, and this chapter takes place on a Tuesday. That is the end of Sinful Discipline by P.S. Nail, and the last of the Sinthology stories that I will be telling you this evening.
That reminds me of a much more fun and interesting version of a tweet that a screen grab tweet that floats around Reddit, where it's like, I went over to visit my parents on Sunday and they were so excited that it was Egg Day.
Egg Day?
They've been married for 35 years and they get so excited because on Sundays they eat eggs. Like they look forward to it.
So funny. It's like you could eat eggs any day of the week.
I know. I do.
What you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, because I'm not that big of a fan of eggs.
That's fine. I just that reminded me of that tweet, and I like this version a lot more because I eat eggs every day. Now, conversely, I could do that every day too.
I mean, yeah, you could.
But you don't need to make a special day for it unless you're into, like, I guess this would be primal play.
I guess. It's a little bit primal play, and then it's just straight up bratting. It's just bratting to be punished and fucked. That's what happens. That's what they do every Tuesday. He's literally like in the scene, in the chapter, he's sitting there like filling out paperwork or something, and a guard comes in and is like, "My lord, the queen is escaping," and he's like, "Oh fuck, it's Tuesday."
And then eventually the guards get like wise to it, like, "God damn it, I don't want to. You go tell him. You go.
No, I'm sure they all know exactly what is happening.
I don't want to think about
from the second time she tried to escape on that same day.
I just realized.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, I've mentioned a couple times during the episode that we've been together for almost 16 years.
Yes.
our wedding anniversary is in November, but our dating anniversary is the day we will be getting in the car to drive
home.
No, to Sinful.
No.
Yes.
Home.
2.
Oh, our dating anniversary.
Yeah.
Sorry. I got the dating month and the marriage day confused. I put them together.
And you would still be wrong.
And I would still be wrong.
Yeah, because we'll be driving back the 23rd.
Yes.
But that's okay.
Still be wrong. Oopsie. Either way, no, you're absolutely correct. We'll be hopping in the car on our 16th dating anniversary.
Yep. Crazy.
Leaving our children behind us.
Yep. I will not miss them. I mean, I will obviously miss them, but goddamn, do I love. We don't get away from our kids nearly enough.
Nah, no, we don't.
But that's what happens when you have. God, what was that thing that fucking pandemic? So
yeah.
When you have pandemic.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, and then I work from home, and you're a stay-at-home parent.
Yep.
That was a ton of fun. So that is the Sinful Signings Anthology from 2023. There will be one that is available for 2024, I believe.
The order form is not active on the website, so I think perhaps you would have to buy one there.
Okay.
Because I'm sure they'll have them available there.
Okay, but because I feel like on the website they had a place where you could order. Like at some point you could have ordered last year's. I think. I
clicked on both of those links today, and neither one of them is active currently.
Okay, gotcha. Well, we will figure it out. So we talked about it at the top of the episode. We're going to cover authors from Sinful Signings. So what do we have on deck for next week?
Next week, I am going to be reading Touch Me by Andy McLean.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Andy McLean is also a friend of the show, and I didn't cover her during the summer of friendship because, well, I have way too many friends to cover them all in one summer.
Braggart.
Right? But she's also a prominent face of the Sinful community, and I'm really looking forward to reading this book because it has been on my radar for a super long time.
I know that you are a big fan of hers, and so I know that this is something that you've been itching to do for quite some time. I was about to launch into the...
I know. I was about to stop you.
I was about to launch into the outro.
How dare you do that without telling me what you're into?
Oh, I got to tell you what I'm into? Okay, so way back at the beginning of the episode, Katie said the name Heather Ann.
Heather Ann
is Heather Ann Campbell, one of the 3 hosts of the podcast Get Played, which is the thing that I am into right now. It is the only podcast that I have consistently listened to for any extended period of time. I've been listening to the show since it started in 2019 when it was originally called How Did This Get Played? It was an offshoot, or the title was taken from the very famous movie podcast How Did This Get Made, because they were both on the Earwolf network, and now it's just Get Played. The premise then was that they would play these weird and terrible video games, and then they realized, oh my god, this is quickly killing us.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's just Get Played, and they talk about video games and all that other stuff. So the brilliant and wonderful Heather Ann Campbell, the delightful Matt Apodaca, and my self-insert character on the show, I guess, would be Nick Weiger. 3 very funny people. It's predominantly talking about video games, but they do this really great job, and it's something that I aspire to on this show, is they do a very good job of straddling that line between like talking about the thing you're supposed to be talking about, but then looping in other, elements and that sort of thing. Because they take the idea of the community around them very seriously. And we do too. So we like to, pull back the curtain and give you little glimpses into our lives. We don't say our kids' names on the show or anything. We are private to a certain degree, but, you're our friends, you're our listeners, and we love the things that you love. And so that's why we do this segment, which I got from another video game podcast. But to just kind of let you have a peek behind the curtain there. So they're my favorite parasocial friends on the internet. Every time Heather Ann talks about Gundams and her special Gundam shoes and all that stuff, I'm like, I want Gundam shoes too.
I
want Gundam shoes.
You would look so cool in Gundam shoes.
I know. I can't wait to show you the Gundam stuff that I've been looking at, like the Gundam gear that I've been looking at today to possibly purchase and justify somehow. But so yes, I am into the Get Played podcast. It is very funny. The only thing, like, the cold opens that they've done at the beginning of the episodes, I don't even listen to them anymore because they've gotten much longer and so much more unhinged.
I can't. I love that show. I love listening when you have them on. What we've been doing a lot in the last few days is listening to them in the evening.
Yeah, and playing Power Wash
Simulator. But I can't. You used to listen to the cold opens, and I would just be like, "What are you?"
And they got
slowly shrivel up in mortification because I couldn't take it.
They did do a really funny one on a recent episode, but they go off the rails. It becomes delightfully unhinged. Mm-hmm. So yes, that is the Get Played podcast. That is what I am into. What are you into?
Well, speaking of parasocial friends, I am into the TikToker See Ya Later and her series Hell's Bells, which is a long-running single actor TikTok skit series that she creates. JC, the creator, See Ya Later, started with the basic premise: what if people who worked in retail in life got to say whatever they wanted to the assholes in hell in death? And that started the Help Desk, 2 L's, HELLP. And from there, she's created this entire universe. There are now 519 episodes of See Ya Later in a single playlist on her TikTok channel. You go, start with number 1, watch the whole thing. You will forget that you were watching TikToks. You will forget that you were watching a single person because she's playing multiple different characters and telling incredibly intricate, beautiful storylines. You will not even notice that until last year, she filmed all of that on a fucking sailboat because she lived on a sailboat when this all started.
Oh my God.
I know. It was so cool. She's amazing, but she doesn't live on the boat anymore, but that's a parasocial thing I know about her. Anyway, those skits spawned a Patreon where she now releases written content about Hell's Bells. She's writing books and prequels, and the story is fantastic and wonderful and delightful and told to me in 3 to 5 minute chunks. And I've been watching it for years. And the big wedding episode that happened a couple years ago, I cried, legitimately cried. She fucking married herself in front of a green screen. And I was weeping.
It makes you understand how these big budget comic book epics can make you feel feelings when, if you really think about it, it's, some PA with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth holding a tennis ball.
Exactly.
With a green suit on.
Yep. Exactly.
While
That's
somebody's
my
going,
secret
no!
cap. I'm always angry. Shivers down my arms. And halfway through that sequence, that's not even Mark Ruffalo anymore. That's some dick nuts with a stick. Anyway.
The vast majority of the time I look at you with your phone, that her face is on it.
Right now, yes. Well, okay, so here's the thing. I stopped watching Hell's Bells for like almost a year. I had no idea what was going on. And then the other day I was like, I wonder how that's going. So I scrolled through to find like probably about where I left off. I've been watching it for 2 days, just trying to catch up. For 2 days. I've been binging TikTok television. It's bananas. But again, fantastic stories, beautiful stories, being told by an incredibly talented storyteller in a medium you wouldn't expect.
That's not. I'm exhausted making 2 podcasts.
I know,
which is a pretty passive thing to make.
I know. And she releases 1 new episode a day.
No.
Except weekends.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. I respect her so much. So much.
You keep doing that.
Yeah.
I'll keep editing and producing this podcast. But in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Cheap Smut. If you would like to send us an email, go right ahead, cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. Down in the show notes is a link to our link tree. The top link is usually the book that we've covered once it's the main line. I don't know how I'm going to do it for this week's episode, but
nor I.
No, but we'll figure it out. But normally regular episode, that top link is a link to the book that we've covered. Once it releases wide to the wider audience, it is not an affiliate link. We don't get any money for it, but if you would like to support us financially, you can do so on Patreon for just $1 a month, like these fine folks have. Vincent Soltenfuss, Kitsune Inc., Cassie, Cassandra, Brian S., April D. Berry, Leah Legend, Dana Goddard, Stephanie Hawkins, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O, and Rebecca K. The music that you hear on this and every episode is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it along with thousands of other songs free of charge for you to use at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org.
Listener, remember, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she will come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
And now, goodbye.